What could be so bad about this holy restaurant with clean floors, fresh flowers, and Christian morals? They are seasoned wizards when it comes to selling people the idea of themselves. They've got people so bad to the point where even the criticisms of them just turn into advertisement. In fact, some of the quote-unquote criticisms were so well done that it made me start evaluating whether or not I should have even made this video. Or if I should have just gone to go to Chick-fil-A to get a spicy deluxe chicken sandwich. Okay, I don't know. I mean, seriously, if this Reddit post was just an elaborate trick made by Chick-fil-A, then props to whoever wrote it, because it's truly convincing. In fact, let's just give their entire public relations staff a round of applause, because they did do their jobs well, and because of them, countless have fallen in love with the idea of Chick-fil-A. But I would not be here talking if there wasn't something to say today. And say something I will indeed do, whereas there's no such thing as a sinless business, considering that all businesses will invariably have money at the center of their interests. So, what deadly sins has this Christian establishment committed? They have deceived you. They have coerced you and me into believing that they are in some way actually healthy, that they're fundamentally distinct from all other fast food places, and that they're the absolute best choice out there when it comes to fast food. But these are all lies. It's good for business, bad if you want an actual honest relationship with the food you consume. After doing all the research, I feel absolutely betrayed, and I just refuse to not spread what I've come to know. Some things will never change. Remember the name of this series: Everything is Bad for You. If you'd like to learn more about what the actual effects of the actual food subgroups are, then here's a link. But, keeping with the moderate video times, here are the core basics of what you would need to know to understand my main problems with Chick-fil-A. Added sugar, meaning sugar without fiber, is bad because it makes you fat, addicted, inflamed, and increases insulin resistance, especially when consumed in large quantities. High fructose corn syrup is an added sugar that's equally as bad as normal sugar, just in a different way. The main difference being the way that it's metabolized in the body. Bread is just tasteless sugar plus anti-nutrients and preservatives. MSG isn't bad for you, but it's very, very addictive, and the effects of high-fat, high-sugar diets are just unspeakable. Here are the links and articles on all of those things. Okay, what's in Chick-fil-A's foods? Lots of added sugar, lots of high fructose corn syrup, lots of MSG, lots of fat. In short, all the food's bad for you, and it's highly addictive. But if we want to discover the deeper truth, we must first look inside the Chick-fil-A website. I mean, look how convincing their website is. Such a sophisticated little poem just for a chicken sandwich. This is the pinnacle of human expression, with a whole new world lying inside this little red button, or long red button. Like, wow, what a whole new world. Come on, me. Precisely how are they actually bad for you? Their food is in the same category as my personal enemy number one. Chick-fil-A's foods are high fat, high sugar. Here's a link to the article describing the experiment that I got my understanding from. Inflammation means problems. Severe, chronic, and sometimes just externally unappealing problems. Some people are more sensitive to these effects than others, but essentially everyone can be affected by inflammation in some horrible way, especially if the dose is high. Accelerated aging of the brain and skin, drastically increased risk for chronic disease like arthritis, heart disease, stroke, cancer, and a very broad range of other chronic diseases, immediate decreases in mental functioning, weight gain, raised risk for depression, chronic pain, general autoimmune diseases like psoriasis and eczema, a general look of sickness, and lastly, you put yourself at an increased risk for a chronic water weight phenomenon deemed by some as the dreaded skinny fat. This problem comes from the fact that when tissue is inflamed, it swells with water weight. An example of this would be Michaela Peterson. So, you should just generally avoid Chick-fil-A and all high-fat, high-sugar foods in general. That would be a good place to start. But then again, you could say that these effects are all dose-dependent, right? You wouldn't say something like that for, let's say, A cigarette. Would you be logically justified in saying that smoking cigarettes would be okay if you only do it once in a while? Most likely not. Not only because you're slowly killing yourself by doing so, but also because you're just pulling yourself closer to an addictive habit. Now I understand that nobody's perfect, and that sometimes we do fall back onto our addictive habits. But if and when we do have the willpower to choose, even when the cravings are at their most extreme, we should always say no, and treat these things like what they actually are: addictive substances. Even if you're addicted now, that's never an excuse to not try to make things better. But how? But what about the science of addiction? Do foods really have the power to create an addictive response in the body? Do addictions really diminish your willpower? Firstly, if you can be addicted to sugar and calories to the extent that you can have very real withdrawal symptoms, here's an article about that, then you can be addicted to food. Especially food made by companies dedicated to making you addicted. And yes, because these foods do generate the same standard withdrawal symptoms, psychological and physical, then it's reasonable suggestion that the scientifically verified psychological effects found in general addiction would also apply, even if it would be in a more or less toned down version. But remember, addiction is dose dependent, so it scales depending on how much someone eats. And yes, there was a very interesting article that came out a while back named, but it's too long, so I'm putting it on the screen now. Scream, funny, okay. Well, at least all of the 30 actual pages out of the 29 chapters that we're permitted to see. Or if you're on a phone, they allot to you only the front cover. You know, sometimes I find myself out of luck when searching for a more or less complete scientific understanding, because a lot of the time there happens to be paywalls in the path of science, and the prices are oftentimes jarringly expensive, especially for a casual scientist like me. Like, wow, these prices are just murderous. I'm not really sure if I understand it, but I guess supposedly high-level information in science requires some sort of way to be funded. Well, maybe the only way for these prices to go down would be for more people to start buying them. Who's gonna buy them if they cost this much? Nobody is gonna be willing to buy. The more things cost, the less people will buy. Why can't they function like a game company? Why can't they function like Steam? By being a fluid economy, consistently having sales and advertising its most popular sales. Maybe you, the viewer, should get onto making something like that, right? Because books and information simply shouldn't cost as much and also remain stagnant. It's just disgusting. But then again, shouldn't information be open to everybody? Information is now infinitely duplicable through the internet, so what is the cause of these walls? Do people just artificially inflate the pricing to make more money? Because people still believe a book should cost $40. Is it greed? Maybe there should be some sort of government subsidies system in place, so that maybe just the have-nots, the people who cannot readily afford such information, can at least have some scientific or philosophical information to guide them forthright if they're looking for that information. Maybe it would be a good idea. Maybe it could function like an actual library where there's only a limited number of books in storage, so that they can artificially inflate the want for a personal copy. But maybe I'm just being greedy, because the majority of scientific articles already are publicly published onto scholarly Google. If someone knows how this happens, please inform me, by the way. And maybe I just don't know what I'm talking about because I haven't completely mapped out the socioeconomic variables to what might happen if something like that was instated. But it still leaves me sour at the fact that sometimes academic journals that would be essential for a complete understanding are blocked off to public eye by paywalls. But it seems like poor me will just have to suffice with the less for now. What is this? A true scientific freedom? Potentially illegal? Definitely another video. Maybe even a tool for use in my own videos, but for now it lies as unnecessary because we can extract out what we need from these 29 pages. But because it's only 29, we're going to be paraphrasing. So, sorry, not sorry. And it all comes down to why. What arguments and excuses would compel you to eat at Chick-fil-A? Do you eat at fast food places because you're experimenting with what's pleasurable? Is it in your genetics? Are you recreationally eating? Is it just because food makes you feel good? Do you eat because you feel lonely? Are you in some way self-medicating sadness? I'm in no place to ask these questions, and these effects are true and strong. But do you really want your choices to be governed by your impulses? Are you willing to give your choice away as forfeit to these fast food restaurants? Okay, we're getting a little off track. The brain is a very complex organ to understand, so it's oftentimes better to try and understand the brain in terms of generalized representations. Coincided with the scientific reference stated in the article, we're going to conceptualize the brain very basically. The brain is a living cave with living houses on the inside, with living people on the inside of those houses, who sometimes have conversations with one another in the form of an internal dispute. And they usually talk about habits, or what I like to call mental laws. And this conversation comes out in the form of an internal conflict. The two houses that are primarily responsible for wants and decisions are the house of impulse and the house of control, the cerebellum and the prefrontal cortex. Each house with its own set of rules, but they both still subserve to the federal laws of the brain. These laws being more a standard of action than a rulebook of punishment, though. Written in the rulebook of the brain, it is standard procedure that there be 3 layers of problem solving. The bottom layer being the habit, the middle being the casual issue, and the last being the true internal conflict. With these two houses being at odds, yet both being in one body, it's collectively understood that they both must come to some sort of consensual agreement in order to move throughout the world seamlessly. In the bottom layer, habit, this agreement is just something that happens without you even consciously registering it. The two houses just say, hey, this is more valuable than this, and how much suffering does it cause, and then they just list everything in a rank order. Most things are ranked using this system. In level 2, it's the rank order plus a small conversation to figure out what's more valuable. And in level 3, the values are huge and contentious, and everyone comes out to have a conversation about which values are more valuable. In a battle of excuses versus reasons to and to not do. Each person from each house wanting the best for you, all with different standards of what best means. An addiction is just a habit that is so valuable in the rank order that even if you try to quit, your body is going to rebel against you. Just like cocaine, these highly refined foods are unnaturally stimulating, and they're going to place themselves very high on the rank order. Also, you build a tolerance to any and all substances, so the more and more you eat, the more you're going to need to eat to get the same satisfaction and pleasure. It's all devious. It's easy pleasure. Easy pleasure is bad for you. The foods are going to weaken your willpower because of the effects of addiction. And then you're not going to avoid the soda. You're not going to avoid the milkshake. You're not going to avoid the cookies. You're not going to avoid anything else that's bad on the menu. Me personally, I'm incapable of stopping myself whenever an opportunity like that presents itself. When you have an addiction in your mind, you have entire portions of your brain dedicated to making that habit chemically irresistible. And then when you give in, it strengthens your weakness. You reinforce not only the habit, but your excuses and justifications. You won't even notice how you trick yourself with excuses like, it's only every once in a while. I ate something healthy, so I'm going to be fine. I'll throw up afterwards. Or even the silent excuse of it being normal to do something bad because everyone else around you is doing it. And they're all invalid excuses because the science I've just stated still stands no matter what your opinions are. But the excuse I hate the most is when people just ignore their health entirely and forget all about all the health consequences just because they don't think they're unhealthy. Do you really want to be okay eating crap food when you could have peak happiness, well-being, performance, focus, and willpower? Are you willing to make that trade-off? Are you just waiting for some sort of catastrophic medical intervention? Or will you say enough is enough? Don't let the bandwagoning, peer pressuring, or normalcy bias trick you into making bad decisions. You have to ask yourself, does this business serve you? Or do you serve this business? Chick-fil-A is bad for you, but it's not unique. Chick-fil-A is just another fast food place. Look, they all follow the exact same business formula. They have infinite soda dispensaries, drive-thru, ice cream, french fries, unhealthy meat slabs between two pieces of oily bread, ultra-expensive salads, added sugar, high fructose corn syrup, MSG, high-fat, high-sugar, milkshakes, and sodas in every single one of these fast food establishments. Please tell me, in what way are they actually different besides from the superficial? Do they use less preservatives? No. Less sugar? No. Do they give out less soda? No. Big no. This is a business. These places are businesses. The fast food strategy is a good business strategy. But is eating at fast food good for you? No. The fast food strategy is to capitalize off of other people's bad health decisions. You, the viewer, shouldn't eat fast food. There is no need to go to the low end to outsource your food. Not even something like HelloFresh or Blue Apron will suffice. There's only one real solution. Just make your own food. My main gripe with these fast food places is that their healthy options are all ultra expensive and or completely non-nutritious. And I think there's a reason why they make it so expensive. It's to instill the idea into you that good food that's good for you is also extremely expensive all the time. And I think they do this because if you're disloyal to your own health, because you believe it to be too expensive to maintain, then they're going to have a much easier time getting you to buy the more unhealthy options, the more unhealthy and addictive options. If you have the money to eat at Chick-fil-A, then you really shouldn't eat at Chick-fil-A, because you're honestly wasting your money just for some basic convenience. It's $3.50 for a salad at Chick-fil-A. It's $4 for a chicken sandwich. You know, a bag of kale is only $1 at Walmart, and a whole pineapple is only 79 cents at Aldi. Like, God, an entire pack of chicken is so inexpensive at Lidl that it makes me want to cry when I see people talking about saving money by eating at fast food places. You can no longer excuse yourself from eating healthy now that the German stores are here. Please fund these places instead of funding fast food. By the way, this is in no way, shape, or form a paid sponsorship. But seriously, these places, they give us the opportunity to be healthy without having to spend so much money. Now, these fast food places are trying to get better out of necessity, which is why Chick-fil-A is technically better than every other fast food place, because no one wants a cancerous chicken sandwich, and it's bad for business to have a bad reputation, but that doesn't excuse what they've done in the past. It doesn't excuse how they knowingly exploit you. You shouldn't trust them. If given the opportunity, they would very much relish doing it again. Your choice matters because your choice is what funds their function. Put the choice in your hands. Your choice is your power. It's your responsibility to hold these people responsible for what they've been doing by not funding them. By choosing not to fund people who sell you addictive trash. This is capitalism. You're the half that keeps the system from becoming corrupt. If you allow these people to do these things, and even incentivize them by funding their efforts, then you deserve any consequences that come as a result. The weight gain, the cognitive decline, the crippling, absolutely everything. In conclusion, okay, I understand the utility of a speedy delivery, and that sometimes it's hard to make your own food. But just remember that when you go to these places, the choice is yours. You're sacrificing your freedom to be healthy, your willpower, your mental capacity, your general well-being, and not to mention a very large sum of money every single time you take a single bite. Please keep these ideas in mind the next time you feel yourself craving Chick-fil-A, because based on what I've just said, it is bad for you. And last but not least, please, Chick-fil-A, don't sue me. This is one of my first videos. For God's sakes, I'm only 17. Please, the legality need not be necessary. So you don't care? Well, can we at least have some sort of compromise? Okay. as long as it means less exploited people. And it means that you guys can still harbor the mass market of people who still choose to make those misjudged sacrifices. Doesn't mean I like you, though. Hope you can get better and maybe serve truly inexpensive, healthy choices. But for you, my hopes will remain low, because you're a fast food joint. Fast food specializes in convenience, dependence, and addiction, not in healthy and inexpensive choices. Okay, the compromise must be said to you, the viewer. Eating at Chick-fil-A or fast food is like going to the club to have a drink. It fulfills a craving. It's fun and enjoyable in moderation, deadly by dose, but inescapable by addiction. Do I personally think you or I should ever drink alcohol or eat Chick-fil-A? No, but that's your choice. Just remember that better options are out there, and hopefully, once you change your decisions, maybe the businesses will follow suit. Just remember that your overall outcome is and will always be paved by your own choices. Now, away from all of my legal sidestepping, if you enjoyed the video and would like to learn more about how to save a buck while eating healthy, then here's a link. And here's another one if you would like to learn how and why cooking should not have to be a hassle. With this channel, as you've seen, with the countless empty links in this video, I hope to do a lot more than just a few videos. My channel is going to function as a sort of web of ideas, and I want to talk about a lot more ideas than just food. I want to discuss game design, moral ideology, contentious issues, and more, all in this hyperlink format, where I can actually go in depth with every single one of my videos without having to cut off any valuable information. I really do hope it goes well. If you are particularly interested by any of the links that I said in the video, then please tell me. Comment below so I know which video I should prioritize. You may be wondering why I'm making this video, or any videos for that matter, and more generally why I care about you and your well-being. And it's because I don't like seeing people who haven't been able to do their best and be their best because of something they don't know, because of information they couldn't find, and it makes me sad. If I can create something that allows people to educate themselves into a better person, then I could be happy, or at least happy with the fact that I tried to make things better. Okay, I hope you have a particularly healthy afternoon. Sayonara.